So here's a question for you. Would you benefit from ongoing support to improve your sales conversations and ultimately close more business? The Sales Maven Society offers you daily support for your urgent sales questions, an extensive library of bite-sized trainings to hone your selling skills, and monthly live coaching calls where you receive individualized coaching from me specific to your business so that you're able to remove any bottlenecks in your sales process. This is the most robust sales coaching program around for an incredible value of only $147 a month. And you can join now for your first month for only $47. You get access to absolutely everything, including the live coaching calls with me. Come check it out and see if this is the place for you to really elevate your business to the next level. You can do this by going to yoursalesmaven.com/society, hit the join now button. And then when it takes you to that page, enter this code, the number 4, the number 7, and the word trial, TRIAL. So 47 trial, all one word, and you'll be a member. I can't wait to see you in there. Now, here's the podcast.
Do sales conversations make you feel awkward or pushy? It's time to ditch the outdated salesy strategies. Your guide, Nikki Roush, will show you how to combine kindness with selling skills to meet your prospects where they are, and in the process, how to up-level your influence and income. Learn how to earn business easily and effortlessly. Here's Nikki.
Welcome, and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Roush. Today is an on-air coaching call with one of our brilliant Sales Maven Society members, Teri Schmidt. She's here, and I'm super excited for you to meet her. Welcome, Teri, to the show, my friend.
Well, thank you, Nikki, for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Well, I am so excited to have this conversation with you. Before we get started, share a little bit about you and your business so people get an idea of what you're doing and who you're serving.
Sure. Thank you. So I am the CEO of Stronger to Serve Coaching and Team Building. And new leaders hire me to launch them past the overwhelm that often comes with a new position, especially when you're getting into people leadership, to a place where they can have a career of courageous impact, where they are leading trusting, high-performing teams that just by the nature of how they operate, bring more compassion and justice into the workplace.
I love that the way you just framed that. So a new leader, somebody who's new into the role, their leadership role, a good idea always, I think, is to have a coach. And it's hard to kind of know, like, what are you supposed to do? And so I love that you're out here offering this to new leaders. Is there a specific type of industry or a specific type of person that is an ideal candidate for you?
There definitely is. In terms of industry, I work with leaders in all industries, and typically corporate or SMBs, small to medium-sized businesses. But in terms of the type of person, I really work with those leaders who got into leadership not for the status and power, but to use that status and power to help make a way for others to develop to their full potential.
Awesome. And what are the traditional ways that somebody works with you? Is it a coaching package, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do have our primary offering is a 6-month coaching package where we really work on helping them to first start by knowing themselves, knowing their strengths and values, which can be incredibly powerful for then the rest of their career, guiding the rest of their career, but then getting into the skills that it takes to lead, particularly in our current economic environment. So, the leaders I work with have a lot of care for their team, but how do they show that care when there's no budget? There's no budget to help them develop their team and show that care in a financial way. How do you still do that? Also, I love to work with women. I have a special heart for women, and negotiation skills are a big need, particularly for female leaders who want to make that difference in their workplace, because they have the potential to do so, but sometimes negotiation and communication is a scary thing for them, and they don't have the skills that they need to make that impact that they want to make.
Yeah. As you're talking, I keep thinking about the first management position where I was leading a sales team. And at some point, I think I got up to like 23 or 24 sales reps. I was so ill-equipped to be a leader, to be a sales manager. And man, I would have benefited so much from having leadership skills and having somebody outside of the organization to mentor and guide me. So I love that you are doing this, that you're helping specifically women rise to the occasion and rise to these roles, regardless of your age, or maybe even if you've been in leadership positions before. Like, what is your comfort level? And what's your passion? Are you there to make a bigger impact? Or like you said, is it just power and status? Because man, it's a lot of work if you're just after power and status. There should be a bigger, I think, theme behind it, or a bigger mission.
Yeah, definitely. It is important to have that why. And, you're not alone in terms of in your leadership role feeling like, it would have been so helpful to have a coach, because I think there's so much investment in leaders at the higher levels. So many executive coaches, but with everything else in our life, we make the investment at the beginning, right? You think about raising a child, how much money and time and effort goes into the child when they are an infant. But yet we want these great executives or these great CEOs leading these businesses, but don't invest in them when they get into people leadership, which is a completely different skill set from being a star individual contributor.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow. I love the way you just said that too. That's such a great analogy about, we make investments early. So if you're somebody who's listening and you're early in your leadership role, now is the time to invest in yourself, because that will pay dividends in ways that you probably can't even imagine yet long term. And wow, what an impact that you'll make in the lives of the people who you're leading.
Yeah, it really will. A woman that I was working with, like I mentioned, I focus a lot on at the beginning on knowing who you are as leader, who you want to be as a leader, what your strengths and values are. And she had been leading a team that she loved, but she got a great opportunity to move to a higher level. And she was in that transition period where she wasn't quite sure she made the right decision. But what she said to me is, she said, because of the work we've done together, I know that if this job doesn't work out, it's not me. It's just a misalignment between what they need and who I am. And I know what I need from a role. Now, she did end up finding what she needed in that role, and things got aligned and she's doing great. But it just showed me the impact of spending that time early, investing in yourself, what an impact that can have throughout your career then.
Yeah. I mean, when I think about it now, I mean, I'm making a pretty huge investment in my business and in myself right now, going through a leadership program where that's kind of the main focus, is this idea of leadership, because I realized that these are skills that I just didn't really learn and have never honed, right? For sure. So yes to the getting that support and having somebody who can really help elevate you. I also want to give you a shout out before we move on to the actual coaching, is you were so gracious and came and did and facilitated the holiday event for the Sales Maven Society.
Yes.
So I feel like you're known in the society, but I want to just give a shout out here. Do you mind sharing a little bit about like what you did for us? Because it was really powerful, and I personally thought it was the best thing I could have offered to the group in that moment, for our holiday event, for what you did. So if you're willing to talk about it and share about it.
Yeah, thank you so much for those kind words. It was so much fun to do. We also, you heard in the business name, team building. So we also do team building. And I just love to connect people, particularly in an environment where a lot of us are remote, are hybrid teams. And that takes a whole lot more intentionality in terms of building that connection, building that culture. And so I like to structure events that give people an opportunity to learn skills that they need. So in that particular event, we were doing some focusing on, how that knowing yourself builds your resilience. But I also have another event that focuses on giving and receiving feedback, which is definitely a skill that needs to be honed if you want to have a trusting team. But I also like to combine that with some sort of community service. So in our event, the holiday event, we've really focused on gratitude and service to each other through that gratitude. So we talked a little bit again about ourselves, about resilience practices. And one of those resilience practices was showing gratitude. So for the holiday event, we focused on creating gratitude cards that used a feedback model that I teach that is from the Center of Creative Leadership, situation, behavior, impact. So this is what the situation was, this is what you did, and this was the impact, and thank you for that. So we did that, and we, of course, combined it with some fun holiday games because it's always
they were fun.
Easier to connect when you're having fun. So love to structure those opportunities for teams as well.
And I know you made some adjustments because you did it for the society in that we're not a traditional team,
right?
But it did create a lot of fun, a lot of engagement. And the whole piece about resilience was so helpful. And your structure for giving the feedback with the gratitude. And I know I actually mailed, which I rarely do, but I did actually mail gratitude cards as a result of that. So thank you so much for being willing to do that and to be our facilitator for the group. It was awesome.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
So now this is about you. So how can I serve you today? What's something that would be really helpful or useful with what's going on in your business right now?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again for the opportunity. So I have been working with building relationships and rapport, learning from you, a lot with individuals, but I would love to get your advice about how to start that relationship building and rapport building with those leaders of the businesses. So again, whether those be leaders of small to medium businesses or going into corporate. Beyond just reaching out to your network, what are some key tips that you have for building that rapport and building those relationships?
Well, the idea about building rapport and relationships is it's really, I think, first and foremost, identifying who are the people that you want to build relationship with. So I'm going to refer back to the Strive 5, which I've taught, and so you nodded your head like you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so for somebody listening, and if you're not familiar with it, it's a technique where you identify 5 people that you want to connect with and build deeper relationship with. So those 5 people get added to this list, which I call the Strive 5 list. And then you look for ways to put yourself in situations so that you can engage with that person and build relationships. So I would say, do you have your Strive 5 list? And if not, I want you to start there. Identify.
I don't yet.
Okay.
Yes.
So identify your Strive 5 and then start to pay attention to how is that person showing up and where are they showing up? Because people kind of share that. I mean, that stuff is kind of shared for the most part out into the world. You see what conferences they might be attending. You can probably see what kind of things are they posting online. You can always invite them to just have let's get to know each other. And especially somebody at a high level who's very, very busy, it's a little hard to like, hey, let's just have a coffee chat. And yet at the same time, if you can have, I would say in a way, you need to have a little bit of a reason, a legitimate reason for initiating that would be interesting to them and or beneficial to them. So when I say interesting to them, it could be that you show some real admiration for them, and it should be very authentic. So I'm not saying like, don't create something that is false, but if there's something about them that you really admire and you can comment on that specifically and ask them if they'd be willing to give you 15 minutes so that you could ask them a few questions about it and learn from a mentorship standpoint. I find that most people will mentor if given the opportunity, but you have to ask and you have to be really respectful of their time. And so it's not going in with a sales pitch. It's not telling them what you can do for them. What will happen a lot of times is they'll be flattered, frankly, by you wanting to engage with them in this way and by you asking them questions. And then they'll become curious about you and who you are and what you do. Sometimes, right? Like maybe not, but I would start with a Strive 5 list. And then I would start looking for ways to engage. And this may be that you can always offer to buy them coffee virtually, right? Like you and I participated recently in a virtual lunch where I bought all the participants lunch. And the way I bought you lunch is I sent you all DoorDash gift cards. And then we all got on Zoom and had lunch together, right? So you can do that with other people. Like, don't shy away from those opportunities. If you can be physically in the same room with them, that would be best. So if there's people locally to you that you would like to invite to lunch or invite to coffee, do that, but not in the sense of like, you're not asking them for coaching. You're just asking, and the more specific you are in the thing that you would like to know about them, or that you would like if they'd be willing to share some insight around. It could be that they wrote a book. It could be that they are known for this particular style of management. It could be a myriad of things.
Right.
And so some of that is doing your research, seeing what you can find out about the person, look on their LinkedIn, who are they connected to? Where did they, what programs have they participated? Where did they go to school? All of that. And it's just a matter of trying. And the thing about the Strive 5 list is people don't sit on that list forever. So you make some effort to put yourself in their kind of universe and start to make connection with them. And if you find that that's not somebody that I can make a connection with, maybe we need to replace them with somebody else on the Strive 5 list. And when you have made connection and you have started to build relationship with that person, then they come off the list and then you put somebody else on. So you start making some effort. Doesn't mean that you abandon that relationship, right? You continue to build that and hone it. And at some point, now this is playing a little bit of the long game, Teri. It's not the like instant, like, okay, they're going to hire me, immediately. But yet when you do this and you do it from an authentic place of wanting to really get to know the person and find out more about them, because the one thing is that most people are not, I don't know, it feels like very few people are truly interested in getting to know like you, right? So when somebody shows an interest in getting to know you, it can be very flattering.
Yeah.
So be the person that makes other people feel good because you're truly interested in them.
Yeah.
How does that land?
I love that. I love that idea. And at first when you said the 15-minute call, I was kind of thinking, okay, so I'll use that to ask them what their needs are in their business, things like that. But the approach of instead starting with, oh, this is something that I saw you post about, and I'm really interested in learning more about it. Would you be willing to meet for 15 minutes to talk about that a little bit? I think that it feels so much more comfortable to me because I am more relationship focused and raising other people up focused. But it is so true that people just want to be seen. They want to be appreciated. They want the opportunity to share something with someone else that they feel passionate about. So I think that's just brilliant. And I'm excited to get my Strive 5 list going and start using some of those techniques.
Good. I'm glad. And, the thing about technology nowadays is you can still, like, you don't even have to send them a DoorDash gift card. You can, and I am not an affiliate for DoorDash. I just want to say that. That just happens to be the service that I use a lot. But you can actually DoorDash them a coffee, right? Like from, if there's a Starbucks or some kind of a coffee shop in their area, you can still send them a coffee to thank them, right? For having this conversation with you, or it doesn't have to be a coffee, but can be anything. Cause I know that I've been on calls before with people where like, I'm like, okay, so what's your address? Let me DoorDash you some tacos. I actually have DoorDash somebody tacos before.
Oh my gosh.
Other things as well. But, so it's not that hard now to do these types of things and to do them virtually whereas before I used to have to get on a plane and go and like take people to lunch and, and do things that way, or bring things and have them, show up at their office. But you can do a lot of that now virtually, and people will remember you. It is an investment, right? There's an investment piece to it. But sometimes making that effort, which to you might not seem like it's a huge deal, but to the person who's on the receiving end, chances are nobody has done that for them before. So again, you really start to stand out. Yeah. Any other kind of question or comment or thought around kind of what we were talking about?
Not that I can think of. Like I mentioned, I'm going to get started with the Strive 5 list. I guess now that I'm speaking, and one more question in terms of the difference between like a small to medium sized business and a larger business, or, a business in corporate. In your experience working with those groups, are there particular levels that you should be focusing in on, particular titles?
Yeah. So it's always, what I would say about corporate is you want to think about who has the influence and who has the budget, right? And so typically when you think about who has the influence and who has the budget, it's going to be people that are sitting at the manager level or above. And when you think about budget, who has budget? Sales teams have budget, marketing teams have budget. Like those are probably the avenues that I would go in for a larger organization. Everybody else might have like a little bit of budget, but like if you were targeting like the accounting department, they don't typically have a big budget. So it's the things that are going to generate money for an organization where you tend to put that's who gets the most dollars. So I would say, look, like, how can you get in with those organizations, with those departments? And then sometimes by getting in with one department, especially in a larger corporate organization, then it opens the door for others. Some of the people in the organizations are used to dealing with the kind of outside vendors, right? And then there's others that are like, I don't want to talk to outside vendors. So this is why I'm still saying sales and marketing, because they tend to be the ones that are kind of out and about and communicating with a lot of different people. So it won't feel so out of like their comfort zone to get on a call with you or have a conversation with you, because that's kind of the thing that they're used to doing all day long.
Exactly. Yeah. I laughed at the beginning because that was a little bit of a pain point, because I was not in sales and marketing when I was in corporate, and you see all the money flowing that way, and it's a little bit painful, but
I know.
Now it could serve me well. So thank you.
Yeah. So, it doesn't mean that you just stay there, but that's probably where I would start. Like for me, it's like follow the money. Like, where's the money going? And in corporate, like money's being funneled to marketing and sales. Yeah. So they've got budget.
Right.
And they do things, like sales teams, they have meetings, they bring in trainers, marketing teams, they also have meetings, they have retreats, they have, the executive board probably does some type of, planning meeting. And so there's those are where I would start because they're used to doing these types of things.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I wish you continued success. And I know you're continuing to elevate and put yourself out there, and you've done some really amazing, cool things, and you will continue. I'm just so thrilled. I know, I'm such a cheerleader for you. I'm one of your big fans for sure.
Oh, well, I can't tell you how much that means to me. So thank you.
Oh, thanks for being here. And for you, the listener, thank you so much for showing up. Thank you for continuing to pour love onto the participants that come in and are brave enough to be on the podcast. Teri, you can let me know, but I think a lot of times once people come on the podcast, people get to know them a little bit better, and people will admire the fact that you're brave to come on here and do an on-air coaching call. And I'm just so grateful. So please continue to share. Please continue to rate and review the podcast. And hey, if you haven't joined the Sales Maven Society yet, come join. Teri, I have two last questions for you as we wrap up. The first one is, as a member of the Sales Maven Society, what has been one benefit for you?
Oh, there really have been so many. And I'm not just saying that because I'm talking to you. I first was attracted to the Sales Maven Society because I knew that sales was a skill set that was not strong for me at all. And I wanted to invest in it. But the way that you teach sales, and it's all about rapport and relationships, just really resonates with me. And it almost makes sales fun. And you
I like the qualifier.
But so many specific, just scripts that you don't have to use verbatim, but are so helpful in the wording, and just like the tips you gave today about building the relationships and rapport just makes it so much easier and so much more aligned with who I am as a person. And then the added benefit was just all the people. You attract just amazing people into the group that are so supportive of each other. I haven't seen it in any other online community, and it's magic. So I love being part of it.
Oh, thank you. All right. And so for people listening who are definitely going to want to be in touch with you, want to elevate their leadership game, what's the best way for people to get in touch?
Yeah, so I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can just search for me. I do also have a podcast called Strong Leaders Serve. And then finally, I do have a free gift for all the listeners if they're interested in taking that very first step to knowing who they want to be as a leader. It's called our Leadership Voice Workbook, and they can just get that at stronger2serve.com/leadership voice workbook.
Okay, go grab that. That will be in the show notes too. We'll make sure we get it in there. Teri's contact information will be in there. So please connect with her on LinkedIn. Go get that workbook. That is so generous. Thank you so much for offering that. And that's it. We're wrapping up. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sales Maven. Visit us online at yoursalesmaven.com/maven for more resources to boost your confidence and skills.
Are you ready to increase your confidence in your sales conversations? I have a gift for you that is going to show you exactly how to do that. It is my Closing the Sale ebook. It's all about leveling up your confidence, giving you language to use, how to seamlessly move somebody through the sales process. And you can get it right now by going to yoursalesmaven.com/maven. Go grab it.